Chapter 11: The Value of Making Mistakes. The year 1928 was a rough one. In the aftermath of World War I, Europe saw the rise of fascism and Nazism. The world was on the brink of the Great Depression that occurred between the two world wars, and the United States was entering one of its most trying times as a nation. This was a time to get it right, as mistakes would be catastrophic in one of the most perilous times in the history of the world. Enter the most unlikely of heroes, Dr. Alexander Fleming. Fleming was a scientist who was working on finding a cure for the common flu. Unsuccessful and frustrated after trying over and over to create a pill that would cure influenza, he left all of his lab equipment in place and went on vacation. There, he made a life-changing mistake. He didn't clean up his gear. He just left everything as it was and took off for the vacation. This will go down in history as one of the most important mistakes of all time. Days later, Fleming returned to a lab with equipment showing a peculiar mold. He then had a creative idea. He thought, what if I try to do something with this mold? What if I look at it under a microscope? This wasn't standard thinking. He hadn't learned to think like this in school. It was a risk. He was being creative. He was allowing mistakes to be made without knowing what the ultimate outcome would be, because mistakes can be the catalyst for something unexpected, something unknown, something profoundly important. What he saw under his microscope forever changed the course of history. He found that inside the petri dish was a mold that ate bacteria. The particular mold he discovered was penicillin, which eventually led to the discovery of antibiotics. Today, he is remembered as one of the finest scientists who ever lived. He saved millions of lives all over the world because of antibiotics, but the route he found to this cure was anything but linear. It was creative, and most important, it was a mistake. The physicist Joseph Henry once said, "The seeds of great discoveries are constantly floating around us, but they only take root in minds well prepared to receive them." Prepare your mind well for allowing mistakes in all you do. You might even save lives because of it. Thinking creatively often depends on making the most of your mistakes. Doing this has the potential to turn mistakes into what I call mistake utility, the understanding of how mistakes become worthwhile. Utilizing your mistakes. Mistake utility is a concept that allows you to see the value of mistakes. Those mistakes may turn out to be more than you have ever hoped for, or even spark a new way of looking at things. But that is only possible if you look at mistakes as a form of wealth that is to be appreciated and valued, a utility that is to be treasured. Most people, unfortunately, follow the analytical view of mistakes, in which they are seen as things to be avoided at all costs. The pessimistic and negative view that mistakes are to be shunned and never repeated for fear of getting it wrong is costly in any business or career. Actually, mistakes are really a breeding ground for innovation. This is one of the cornerstones of the creator mindset. The world is filled with happy accidents and mistakes that allow for this product or that opportunity to be created from the ashes of an error. Your goal in business and in your career is to recognize mistakes as opportunities. It is critical not to go down the rabbit hole of a preordained view of the world that eliminates any creative opportunity for success. The creator mindset allows for mistakes to be made because mistakes are the very foundation of creativity. When we lift away the fear of making a mistake, we give ourselves permission to explore, to push, to spread our wings and see what is out there, and to create. Analytical thinking focuses solely on a predetermined result in which only one thing should happen. Creative thinking focuses on the potential results in which many things can happen. With making mistakes comes the freedom of not having to get it right all the time, and in that freedom lies the spark of innovation. What kind of creativity can you come up with if the fear of making a mistake is gone? I'd like for you to think about this. What in your career or company has recently gone wrong and turned into some kind of mistake? Is it a transaction with a client in which you made some mistake on the paperwork? Is it a delivery that did not go as planned? A missed deadline? Not ordering in time for the big rush? No matter what the mistake was, it's far more important to see what you can do with that mistake now that it's over. There may be a quick rush to judgment or a search for someone to blame after a mistake is made. But what if you were to change your view on the mistake and look at it for a creative opportunity instead? What if you see its mistake utility? Go ahead and do it now. Look at the mistake that was made in a new way and see what creative spark you can derive from it. If we take a moment to pause and look at the results with creativity in mind, we can see what the results are really telling us. Use the empathy, humor, and courage we talked about in Chapter 8 to create your own little victory and help uncover an unanticipated result in this mistake. The way we look at the results, no matter how unexpected or undesired they appear to be at first, is very powerful creatively because how we perceive the results, especially when they don't go our way, is the playground of the creator mindset. Remember, the creator mindset allows you to see things as they can be, not as they are. Seeing potential instead of mistakes can have a lasting and profound impact not only on your business, but especially on your bottom line. Think of this tool as mistake utility, in which a mistake becomes a currency you can trade.